When Jesus said yes, nobody, 'cause he's in control. There's no limit to what you can do, 'cause it all belongs to you. Yes, it all belongs to you. Now, Rush, you know you're almighty and all powerful, and it all to you, and it all to you. There's no limit to what you can do, 'cause it all to you. Yes, it all to you. Now, Rush, you know you're almighty and all powerful, all belongs to you. Yes, it all belongs to you.
Well, hello, and welcome to the Queen Esther Radio Show. I am your host and author, Jessica Taylor. Today has been an awesome and amazing day. It is the day that the Lord has made, and we're still rejoicing. We're glad about it. I am privileged on tonight to have back on air with me the lovely LaSheera Lee. She's the guest co-host for this week. How are you doing, LaSheera?
I'm doing wonderful, and how are you doing this evening?
I am truly excited. I have just been going back and forth. You have no idea about preparing for this show and just the guests that we have on. It's really just been a humbling experience to have these ladies that we're going to be bringing on today. But I am doing amazing. How has your day been all day?
It has been a wonderful day. It's been extremely busy, but I am glad to be on this show tonight.
Amazing. It is truly a pleasure and an honor. I am excited. Today is March the 18th, 2015, and I'm telling you, it's just a beautiful day, and I'm looking at what God has been doing for the month of March thus far. Just the year of 2015 has been started off with a bang. I mean, we had some roller coasters along the way, but that is life. Life does happen.
Amen.
And so I try to tell people all the time, they just say, you're always happy. I'm like, I choose to be happy. I believe that happiness is a choice and that you choose your attitude. And ever since I was a little girl, I've been told that your attitude determines your altitude.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you. I just want to go higher and higher and higher. We're embracing up. You know, this is the month of March, and you know the month of March is Women's Empowerment Month. So what have you been doing this month to celebrate women, LaSheera?
Well, last night on my show, I had Gwen Richardson. As a parent of a high school senior and also a person who received a master's degree and amassed a lot of student debt, I wanted to encourage other them or assist them to find a way to deter that bondage of student debt. And Gwen Richardson, she's the author, NAACP Image Award nominee for 2015 for her book, College Scholarships 101, How to Refrain from Student Debt. And I had her on my show last night, and it was so wonderful. I received a lot of positive feedback because she gave you a blueprint, a template, if you will, of how to go about not only finding the loans, but what you need to do along the way. And she gave you websites, she gave you encouragement, and she also informed us that there were scholarships and grants for graduate students. And a lot of people who are in bondage due to their student loans, and this bondage sometimes keeps them from purchasing houses or other things of that nature. So that's one way. And this weekend, my book club, we're celebrating our 4th anniversary. We're hosting a couple of authors here locally. And then we are also collecting canned goods for our locality, and we'll be collecting school supplies. So that's some of the ways that we are celebrating Women's History Month.
Well, you know what? That all sounds really, really good. I want to make sure that we let people know who you are because you are a guest co-host. You were one on last week, and you're here again this week. Can you tell us just a little bit about you, LaSheera, before we go forward in the broadcast on tonight?
Oh, wow. Well, thank you for the opportunity, and I must say it has been a pleasure to be able to co-host with you these past 2 weeks. I have learned so much. I have grown so much, and just the opportunity that you give other people and the platform that you give women, and not only the platform, but you utilize your platform in such positive methods. So kudos to you and all that you do. But I host a blog talk radio show called Read You Later, where we host authors, publishers, publicists, community and art enthusiasts. We talk about myriad of different topics, from books, from relationships to Christianity, to faith, to romance, to self-help. We go the full gamut. And we also have some people in our local regional community that we host that have different topics or different causes. And a lot of times grassroots organizations, they don't get the notoriety that they need. And so I really love to assist people who have or who champion a great cause and get them out in the limelight so perhaps somebody else can hear of their cause or hear of their agency or hear of their campaign, and they're able to pursue and help them get the notoriety that they need. I also am a book club president, do a lot of different things in the book world. I'm an author, and my baby girl, I'll be remiss if I didn't say this, my 11-year-old, she has a book called The Perfect Christmas, and she will also have a book called The Perfect Summer that will be out roughly maybe 1.5 months. And I must say, as a proud mama, she will be featured in the USA Today on March the 30th.
That is amazing. Well, we're applauding her. This is Women Empowerment Month, so we are definitely applauding her. And I love the fact that you're already sewing into her life and the importance of entrepreneurship, because writing a book is, that's a business now. And it can open up so many platforms and doors for her.
Yeah, and as I host, I've hosted several literary events in my local town and assisted in literary events in Durham, Richmond, and we host a United Book Club event in Greensboro last year, and I consolidated with 3 other book clubs, and we had a wonderful, tremendous turnout of almost 300 people. But what I've learned along the way is that you see our counterparts. They are always exposing their children to different things, and they are always including them. And so anytime I have an event, I always include her. And she hosts. She may help me set up. She may help me register. She may be all over the place because I want to see her, and I want her to realize that it is important how you carry yourself. It's important at a young age what you say and how you say. And I didn't get that opportunity because my mama, she was too busy trying to pay bills. And so a lot of the opportunities, they weren't afforded to me. And I want to make sure that not only my daughter, but various youth, like we always try to have a youth component in our literary events. Where there's a publishing workshop, someone is inviting them about writing, or somebody is telling them about business. And I think it's important that we not only promote adults, but we also make sure that our youth benefit from what we're doing.
Amazing. Amazing. I love that. I absolutely love that. I think that pouring into our children is essential. There's a lot going on, especially with the young ladies of our day.
Yeah.
It's very disturbing, and I love the fact that I love to hear positiveness, going on in the community. It's just a lovely thing that you're doing. I want to I do want to stop, and I don't know if it's whoever is listening out there today, if it's your first time listening, my name is Jessica Taylor, and I am the host of the Queen Esther Radio Show. I host this show alongside with Jason Mosley, but because it is Women Empowerment Month, I told him he cannot be on the show. It is all about women, women, women. I don't want to sound like that guy that say women, women, women. But it is all about women, women, women. And we're celebrating high gear on today, and I am an author as well. I have a couple of things in the works, and I'm also proud to announce that I will be starting an author coaching program, and I will definitely be sharing more news about that later on as the weeks go by. But if you're someone who is aspiring to be an author, or you want to write a short story or a journal, things like that, this program is definitely going to be for you, and I promise that it's going to be packaged in a way that once you're done with it, you can go on if you choose to help somebody else. But I'm not all about just trying to cash in, but I will be definitely helping you take your dream from inside of your head onto paper. I'm going to help you make that a reality. Reality is what we want to deal with.
Wonderful.
And I also want to... Yes, I want to acknowledge all of those that are listening in different parts of the world because we reach so many people in so many different countries. So I want to say hello to you and let you know that we're excited that you're listening in. It's amazing to me the doors that God is opening and just the things that he's doing relatively to the Queen Esther Radio Show. It is what I would like to do, excuse me, what I would like to do is acknowledge a couple of women this month. I just want to do that every show this month, people that are doing phenomenal things. And also, if you had an opportunity to listen in live last week, we had the phenomenal Vicki Johnson on. Didn't you do an amazing job?
Yes, I talked about that the whole entire week. People at work or my friends or Facebook acquaintances, they were inboxing me. We were chatting about it. People were so inspired. And, you know, it really was a ministry. You know, it really wasn't an interview. It was almost like she was really ministering to us. And, honey, she hit my toes a couple of times. But I must say.
Oh, did she not hit our toes? I left it for like I had got spanked or something. I said, my God.
Wonderful, wonderful. Oh, that was awesome.
Amazing show. She was truly a breath of fresh air. No doubt about it. She did her thing, and she represented very, very well. Just excited about everything that's going on with her in her life. She's definitely trailblazer. And that Dashawn Washington, she took the cover of a lot of things on last week, and especially about the suicide. And I even went back and was just looking up statistics, and she was just right on the head about it. And I love when people know exactly what they're talking about.
Yes, and that's how you can help and heal other people, when you're transparent enough to share your journey. Because a lot of times, especially when we are in church, when people put on those masks and they are able to minister and teach, but they're not able to heal because they're not transparent. And so when you have transparent people, as Dashawn and Vicki, who are willing to share their testimonies and share their journey, it makes you understand who you are and you're not alone in your walk.
Wow. Well, I want to, you know what, normally I wait a few moments later in the show, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we will have, what I want to do is take a quick commercial break. So if you're tuned in, this is the Queen Esther Radio Show. We're live on the air. We have the lovely LaSheera Lee. She is guest co-hosting alongside me today, and I'm just so excited about her because she just, I don't know how to work. We just hit it off.
We did.
You just always on each other forever and a day. You just thought. Okay. But listen, what I'm going to do is we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we are going to have the opportunity to speak with our first guest, which is none other than the phenomenal, dynamic Dee Marshall. And when she comes back, I'm going to talk more about her. But I'm telling you, she is someone who I truly admire. I've admired her from afar off for years, and just to be able to even connect with her and to speak with her it is a dream come true of mine as well. So stay tuned. You're listening to the Queen Esther Radio Show.
Hey, Chef Jovi here of the Experience Radio Show. Join me 10 a.m. every Thursday to explore recipes, best restaurants, and food spots in and around the country. I look forward to receiving your comments, so follow us on Spreaker.com to tune into the show. That's SPREAKER.com. And search MWHY Radio to join me every Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Experience Radio Show. And remember to share your experience.
Hello, I'm Sherelle of Fit and Flow Yoga Radio. Wake up with me every Friday at 6 a.m. and have a wonderful yoga experience. We'll explore meditation and discuss how various yoga postures can help relieve your everyday stress. We'll also make the connection between our faith and wellness. Follow us on Spreaker.com to tune into the show. That's Spreaker, SPREAKER.com. And also search MWHY Radio to join me every Friday at 6 a.m. for Fit and Flow Yoga Radio with Sherelle. And until next time, surrender to your strength and always embrace your flow.
The Queen Esther Radio Show is brought to you in part by...
Hi, this is Benita with Off the Vine. Join us on Fridays at 3 o'clock for fun talk about wine. This season, I'm going to put this little sommelier certification to work as we expand the conversation to talk about beer and spirits too. Meet more exciting special guests, and you never know just who may show up at the studio. Off the Vine with Benita on the May We Help You Radio Network, giving you something to whine about.
Well, welcome back to the Queen Esther Radio Show. I'm your host, Jessica Taylor. I'm sitting here and I'm saying to myself, God, you do great things. There's a song by Kurt Carr that says, Great Jesus, and he just, all he does is just talk about how great God is, and that's what I feel like right now. And I am truly trying to hold back my tears because you know how you would think something, and you'll say, well, what if maybe one day I might get to meet this person or I might get to meet that person. But I tell you, God knows what he's doing, and he does things so well. And even trying to articulate it in my human vocabulary, I cannot even describe the place that I'm in right now. And I mean that so wholeheartedly. And if you know me, you know I'm a crybaby. So I am literally holding back. Well, I'm trying to, but I am in a very humble place right now. I have the privilege of having someone on the show, Dee Marshall, who I truly admire. I got acquainted with her and her ministry that she has several years back. And just to see how God has brought that thing full circle. I can say a lot of things about her. She is truly a leader of leaders. She's doing amazing things out in the community. She is an author. She is a coach. She is a mother to so many. A lot of us look at her as a mother figure. I mean, when I tell you that the woman is just doing things. I can read you her resume, and I will as we get into the interview. But I am so honored to present to some and to introduce to others the phenomenal Dee Marshall. How are you, gorgeous?
I am well, thank you. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling about a 10, which is good for, let's see, it's 8 o'clock or a little thereafter. I'm feeling good, and I thank you so much for inviting me to the show.
I'm thanking you for saying yes. I'm thanking you for saying yes, Dee. And like I said, I can say so many things about you, just so many things about you. And I know that, I have a hard time when people say things about me too, but everything that I'm saying about you is true. And that's the good thing about it. I'm not making this thing up. You are just doing amazing things. Amazing things. I got to play it. I want to, and it is God. We give Him all the glory. I thank God for you, Dee, and just the ministry that He has birthed through you, because we know that it's Him doing it. We do know that. And for those that's listening, we never take credit for anything, because we know that this is a God thing. I want to start off by just I'm going to tell you something. I'm really trying to hold my composure today, but I just feel like shouting. I really, truly do. I feel like shouting. I'm just truly excited. I want to start off by saying thank you again for accepting the invitation to the Queen Esther Radio Show. And for those of us that are listening that don't know who Dee Marshall is, can you tell us a little bit about her? Tell us a little bit about you.
Hey, listen. Somebody asked me once, I walked in, I was speaking at a conference, and I walked into the speaker ready room, and they said, "Who are you?" And then, no, I know what I did. I said, "Hey there, gorgeous, greatness, beautiful, fabulous." And the woman said to me, she says, "Oh, my God, you must be Dee Marshall." And I thought that was so interesting that she said that. But she said, "You know what, I really appreciate your energy and your spirit and your light." She said, "A lot of people walk in here and they think that we should know their names, and they think that, that we're to bow. But I appreciate your energy." And so I will say this. I said, "Listen, doll," I said, I'm a daughter of the King. And what I know about myself, based on my own self-discovery journey, is that I am God's workmanship, created in Christ Jesus to do good work that He prepared in advance for me to do. That's how I define Dee Marshall. I think for the purpose of this show and for the people that are listening, and they want to know, well, why is Jessica all excited, and what exactly do I need to know about Dee Marshall? I'll say this. So I have the privilege of having given birth to this ministry, Girlfriends Pray, a few years back. Yes. So I'm the founder of a powerful movement that is really, it is just prayer. So that's one part of who I am. Yeah. So that's one part of who I am. Gave birth to this little ministry, 33 women, and I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit later. But that's part of who, what it is that I do, and part of who I am today. And then I wear another hat. I run this coaching, training, and development practice, which is pretty sweet. I get to work with powerful women around the globe, high level, high profile, high ranking. When I leave you, Miss Jessica, I got to get in bed and be at the airport in the morning, and I will be opening up a conference in Belize. It's an international women's conference, so that's part of, I'll be in Belize this time tomorrow. While you all are here, I'll be in 85-degree weather. Now, listen, I'm not saying, I'm just saying I'm happy to get out of here because it's 30 degrees today. So that's part of who I am. And then, I wear this other hat that television calls, they call it TV lifestyle personality. And that just means, that's the title that media gives to people like me. We're not actresses, we're not actors, but it's basically when you do what you do well enough that you're able to do what you do well enough in other spaces. And so television, in the media space, they call you personality or TV lifestyle, blah, blah, blah. And that really just means that I get to serve women on a larger platform. I write for some magazines. I contribute for some magazines. I still do some television stuff. And that's all of what I do. But who I am a child of the Most High. I am a daughter of the King. I am an heiress to the throne. So if I had not a title, a single title, a single association, if I never did television, if I never wrote for a magazine, if I wasn't the founder of one of the fastest growing ministries, Boom, Bang, Cat, I'm still a daughter of the King. So you can strip away everything else, and I will still be standing and standing firmly in who God created me to be. So that's who I am. All the other stuff is gravy. That's just me, doing what God assigned me to do. In fact, that's the good work that God created me to do. It's all of that other stuff, all the titles, all those other hats. That's what God assigned for me to do, to serve women, not to serve me, but to serve women. So who am I? I'm just a little old girl from the hood. Listen, my mother had 2 children by the time she graduated from high school. So if I really wanted to tell the real story, she was 17 years old. Thank goodness she didn't make her way to the clinic. I wouldn't be here right now. But we know that was God's plan, says his word in Psalms 139. Some little brown girl, single mom, and, for all of I say sometimes when I'm speaking, for all of those who shine or who turn their nose up at the teenage mom, bam, mommy, just lift up your head right now, because we're going to clean this up on the back end. Just watch God work this all out, and we thank God that you didn't make your way to the clinic, and I'm still here. Somebody say amen. That your mother didn't make her way to somebody's clinic.
Amen.
So I'm just a little brown girl. So she thought she could, and so she did, and so here I am. So thank you for having me on the show. Did I answer the question?
Oh, my gosh, absolutely. You answered the question. And I'm going to tell you something. You touched on some things that I definitely want to talk about, and that is that of Girlfriends Pray Ministry. I want you to talk about this ministry. You touched on it. You said it was, it started with 33 women. Now look at it. It's over 100,000 women worldwide. Yes, talk about Girlfriends Pray Ministry, please.
5 years ago, it was the middle of December. I was coaching women. Women would come to the call emotional. I said, what's up? Happy holiday, Merry Christmas, happy. And they were not happy. They were hurting and hurt and broken. And I just offered to pray with women, right? I said, for those of us who are doing well in this season, we should probably stand in the gap for those who are not doing so well. Let's pray for them. I offered to pray for a few women. I raised my hand. I volunteered. And the long and short of it is, within, I think, 48 hours of me throwing it up on the wall, a woman said, hey, Dee, or did you ever do that? Or, are you going to pray? And as soon as that one came forward, I gathered a few friends and started this prayer call with the intention of praying from the middle of December to the end of the year for just 2.5 weeks to get these women through the holiday. And then if we just got them through the holiday to the new year, I was going to go on about my business. They were going to go on about their business, and all would be well. And it did not happen that way. So 33 women on the first day of that call, I believe December 19th. And what happened is, by the end of that 2.5-week window, the call lines maxed. Mothers had told aunties, sisters, grandmothers. The North had called the South, and the East and the West, and women from all over were calling in. And by the time the call was to end, people said, this can't end, this is a lifeline. And that was the beginning of Girlfriends Pray. Believe it or not, I thought I was going to back out and not go forward. I thought, well, let me just set somebody else up to do it. And, I know that sounds real foolish, don't it? It's just real crazy. How you going to set somebody else up to do what, Dee Marshall? But what happened was, at the end of the year, when the call was to end, I used to tell the story that I tussled with God. And I've come to learn, of course, we all know, he wasn't really fighting with me. I was really fighting with myself. But within 48 hours, I just said to the women, just come back here. And at the beginning of the year, my mother and I, we named it Girlfriends Pray because we thought about all of the things that girlfriends do together. Put a name on our baby, right? Always name your baby. Always give your baby a name. In order for it to exist, you give it permission to exist and to live the moment you name your baby. So name the baby Girlfriends Pray, and it took off like wildfire. In year one, it just took off. From everything from an inaugural event that was held in New York, New Jersey, the same day, the CNN called. They wanted to send out camera crews to do a story. They thought it was fascinating. It was the same day Chelsea Clinton got married, so they said all of our resources are out, so we're not able to do that. I said, listen, cool. I was not pressed. I got television cameras. They're already counting me in on 5, 4, 3, 2, so I'm not pressed. So listen, I'm not pressed. Be clear. I said, okay, well, I'll see you. And sure enough, they sent camera crews to our next tour stop, which was D.C. We held a press conference on the Hill. So within year one, 2 events, 2 tour stops. We went to Capitol Hill to hold a press conference to make the announcement, received an NAACP Image Award for community and faith-based outreach, television segment show with ABC WMAR, an affiliate, a radio piece, and it just took off like that. So right now, Girlfriends Pray is a prayer ministry for women. Our mission is to get more women closer to God through prayer. The vision is 1 million women around the world united in prayer.
Wow.
Amen.
And you are definitely doing just that, and you branched off to something else too, Girlfriends Pray Local. And I want you to talk about that just for a few moments because I am super pumped up about it.
Girlfriends Pray Local. Yeah, so we just launched Girlfriends Pray Local. Literally, we're in our 5-year anniversary window. So 5 years in ministry, and the 5-year anniversary marked the beginning of an expansion of how it is that we get to 1 million. So on February 7th, I believe it was, we announced that we now have we now go from being a virtual ministry, because the ministry up until last month, we were just about 80% virtual. 20% of what we do is literally travel around the world, touching down, hosting events so we can meet and touch and hug and love on other women and encourage them to pray. As of February, we launched Local, and Local is literally our physical presence on the ground in cities and regions and states and parishes all over the globe. So what that means is if you are a woman listening right now, you can call in and pray with us, but you can find Girlfriends Pray in your neighborhood. Find a leader. You can go onto our website, girlfriendspray.org, and click on Join a Group and literally find people gathering in your neighborhood. And if you can't find them, you can volunteer to be a local ambassador.
Yes.
That's Girlfriends Pray Local. And I'm really excited about it. We have some amazing women generals that run this ministry. I mean, they just let me do some stuff, but they really run it. And so Kim Fuller, Carolyn Ginyard, Gwen Lipscomb. Let me tell you about Gwen. Gwen is our Deputy Director for International. She's getting ready to get on a plane and head to Belize. That's how hot this is. Do you understand how bad God is to move the borders? With the prayer of Jabez, come on, somebody. When he said, just raise your hand and offer to be a gimper, just raise your hand and volunteer for an assignment. Just ask God to give you an island. We already took islands. We're now global. Last year we were in Bermuda, marked drew a line in the sand to say island takeover. We already touched down. But when you raise your hand and you volunteer and you offer, say, God, use me. Don't ask God to bless you. Ask God to use you. Ask God, whatever he's doing, God, don't do it without me. God, can you find a place to use me? God, move me out of my way. So Gwen, who is the deputy director for international, she's on the job right now. I'm supposed to be on a flight at 9. I said, well, I got to do Jessica's show. I said, Tracy, Stephanie, Butterfly, Gwen, y'all need to work it out because I don't know how it's going to happen. But we promised.
Oh, my.
And so Gwen worked it out. And so little
Wow.
brown girl from the hood, from single mother, I got to be on a flight at 5:15, and I'll touch down in Belize somewhere about 2 p.m., and we're going to make it happen on the island. It's not even an island, the country of Belize with the First Lady and the mayor of Belize City. Tell me God is not awesome.
It's awesome.
Oh, my God. God is so great, and he's greatly to be praised. I'm just over here. I want to shabak him. I just love him. I love him. He does things so great, so well. And just what you're doing with prayer, there was a song that we used to sing, prayer is the key, faith unlocks the door. And I tell you, and that's going to lead us to our next discussion, and that is about this phenomenal book that you have written, Pray, Win, Live. And I'm telling you, I am so excited. I cannot wait to get my copy in my hand. But, Dee, please tell us about this book. First of all, why did you write the book?
Because God said write it. It was a Saturday in August while y'all was having a good time without me. You all were out playing. You all were doing your summer thing. And God whispered, that's what y'all was see. Y'all was playing in August. It was a hot day, and you were out at the barbecue and at the beach. And but God, as I was doing the plan for our expansion, for Girlfriends Pray Local, this was a month of August, I literally canceled a trip to Martha's Vineyard, which is my annual trip. Canceled it, and it was Saturday, and I was in my house, and I was writing the plans. I said, well, what book are they going to read? I guess we're going to read Stormy O'Martian, because I love that book. I love Stormy O'Martian. I love. If y'all know Stormy, tell her I love her, and she is a friend in my head, and I really
love Stormy.
Do we love Stormy? She's a gift to this
Hi,
earth.
Stormy.
Hey, Stormy. Everybody wave at Stormy. Writing those books so we can straighten out our lives, telling us to stop depending on people. Said, well, God, are we going to read Stormy? He said, no, you write the book. How you going to read somebody else's book? How many times you going to read Stormy's book? You already know the book. You write the book. Dee Marshall. And so I said, okay. So I started writing. And by the end of that week, there was 10 chapters done. By the end of the next week, there was 10 chapters. And I never said anything about it because how many of you, like me, have false starts? You stop, start, stop. I can't really finish the book. I'm just telling the truth. Maybe it's just me.
All right.
Maybe it's just me. Because it took me 5 years to write a book. I started writing a book about prayer 5 years ago when the ministry started. I'm just telling the truth, people. So if you think this just happens overnight. So why did I write the book? God told me to write the book, and that was part of me serving and leading this ministry. It was a tool that we needed to have in order to encourage women to pray and to meet us for Girlfriends Pray Local, which is a monthly gathering of women. It looks like Saturday morning fellowship out over breakfast. It's a small group, and so that's why I wrote the book. I wrote it to serve. I wrote it to encourage women to pray. Of course, there's 52 practical prayers for women. There are prayers, and then I had to put my spin on it. There's prayers, and then there's a word of encouragement. I had put my spin on it. Like, listen, you're praying, but let me just help you with this because I'm a woman of a certain age. So that's why I wrote the book.
Now, Dee, what has been the most rewarding part of listening to God and going forth through this ministry?
The most rewarding is when I get the testimonies of women that say that your mission, you all do what you say, and Girlfriends Pray saved my life. And I'm going to give you this, Gina. Let me wait, hold on everybody. There is 2 years into this ministry, I posted to my Facebook. Let me just say this. 2 years into the ministry, there was a testimonial, and the testimony, it read like this. It said, for all of you who may not know about Girlfriends Pray. She said, if it had not been for Girlfriends Pray and God on my side, where would I be? 6 feet in the grave by my own hands. Okay, hold on. It turns out that it was a young woman who was on the very first call that we had at the very first call, the very first day that I started. We took 2 prayer requests, and the one woman said, I need prayer. And she said, because I'm suffering with depression, I'm having suicidal thoughts, I was pregnant with twins, I lost one, I was forced to abort the other, having suicidal thoughts, and my mother said she could care less if I lived or died. That's what she said. Fast forward 3 months in, that same woman wrote a testimony and said, if it had not been for Girlfriends Praying God on my side, where would I be? 6 feet in the grave by my own hands. And when I saw that testimony, that was the first time in my life I said, God, if in fact, I did a public service announcement on my Facebook page. I said, listen, folks, if I go down, if I die tomorrow, I just want to be clear, if there's something happens by accident, I'm not planning it, but if I do, don't cry for me. That testimony made my living purposeful. That single testimony made me just be able to stand and say, God, if I had to die today, I'm good, because this one single effort, initiative, this tiny gesture to extend a hand, to pray for other women, it saved somebody's life. This girl, who I later found out, she was 24, she was in college. I named her everybody's daughter. Her name is Courtney. She would tell you her testimony. CNN did the B-roll on her. And so that is the biggest blessing for me. That's the blessing. It's not that, we participated in year 2. We did a missions journey. We shared, I think we were invited by Deborah Morton to participate in her place. I've been invited to pulpits, really not places where God has told me to go, but I've gone in. And so not the favor to that level. I mean, we've been covered by Gospel Today, Echoes of Empowerment, Essence Urban Faith, and the list goes on. And not Dee Marshall, but the ministry, God getting his shine. Right now, if you have your March issue of Essence Magazine, what's really sweet about it is, Dee Marshall, people say, Dee, you're in Essence. Well, no, not really. God is in Essence. God showed up. He just used me as an instrument. He just used me. My mug is on the page. He gets his own shine. It says, Dear God. His name is in print. His name is in light. My name is the subtext. It says Dee Marshall. And so when you ask the question, what is the blessing? The blessing is the testimonial. When I walk up and somebody says, is your name Dee Marshall? And I usually tell a lie. I say, no, my name is not Dee Marshall. And then they go on. They say, well, you look like Dee Marshall. I say, oh, really? And they say, yeah, she does such and such and such and such. And I let them go on. Or sometimes they say, you look familiar or you sound familiar. And then all of a sudden, their eyes well up with tears. And now I'm used to it. I just let it flow, just let it go. And I just hug them and move on. I've heard it before. They say that line saved my life. I said, I get it. You were under the bed. You weren't even in the bed for days. You were under the bed. You were in a hole. So it's the testimonies. Another woman said to me, she sent me a message. She said, Dee, I thank God you were the rope that God sent to pull me out. That's my blessing. Ooh, that's my blessing. Well, I told my assistant, I said, Tracy, can you grab the testimonials? Because that's going to pull me out one day. I might need that. I might be in a place, I might not be feeling fabulous. I might need to read the testimonial that the woman said, you are the rope to pull me out. That might serve me another day, but that makes my life meaningful. It makes it all purposeful. It's why I run like I run, because I raised my hand. I said, God, use me. Show me how to take who I am, who I want to be, and what I can do, and use it for a purpose greater than myself. And he uses me, and I'm blessed in the testimony. Now, he takes care of me on the back end. But my blessing, my sister Franchina, is really it's the testimonies of the women God shows up. You don't have to question Girlfriends Pray whether it's ministry. Just look at the fruit. So I don't argue.
Amen.
People don't bring me that type of nonsense. If it comes from me, I think my team blocks it. In fact, I know some of them. I know Dawn Jordan Jones is a block and tackle, I'm sure. My assistant, they're real good. But people, you don't come from me and question. You don't go for any. Just look at the fruit. And so the fruit here are the testimonies. I'm working towards 1 million testimonies. I'm not necessarily working towards the vision of 1 million. What I need in my file when I get to the gate is 1 million testimonies.
Oh, my gosh.
Amen.
Dee, oh, my gosh. Dee, that's why I'm so in love with this book that you're putting out, especially the mere fact that women, something that is out of the 52 is just different hard-pressing issues that women have come to the ministry about. And I love that you address it. It's like one for every week because there is 52 weeks in year. And I'm just loving the fact that you're addressing each of those issues that women do have. And I want to ask you a question. Why is it that you have such a passion to help women, to mentor women, coach women? Why? Where does that passion come from? I know that it's a gift from God. You have to have it. It has to be a gift.
That's it. That's the only way I could describe it, because it's something in your belly. It's a fire. So that's God. God plants in us. He created us. He knits us together. So he wired me together like this. He connected the wire. The wires, he could have made me passionate about children or passionate about athletes and passionate about other things. This was just my assignment. I could have been maybe a different number that year or that season or whenever it was that God was on the line and putting us together. But there's no other way other than to say that it's all God. Because I haven't always been in this space. I'm a Wall Street alumni. I trained $1 million producers on Wall Street and worked there on September 11th. So I had to evolve and move into this space, and I moved into this space seeking God. So I asked God to reveal. I asked for this. I asked him to show me who I am, where I'm going, who I am, whose I am, where I'm going, and then God moved me here. So I would just say that it's God. That's how I get this.
Amen. Can you please tell the listeners how they can connect with you if they're interested in coaching with you? And also, above that, how can they purchase this dynamic book?
Okay, the book right now, you can go to girlfriendspray.org, click and buy direct from Amazon. Let me say it again. Go to girlfriendspray.org, which is our website, and there's an image, I believe, to the right of the website. Thank God for my awesome team, Dawn, Kim, Tracy, Kim, Carolyn, Gwen, Carmen.
Amazing team.
Tanya. Yes, these people are, you have no idea. But so if you go to the website, you click on the image, it says Pray, Live, Win, and buy the book direct from Amazon through our site. We are a not-for-profit, so Girlfriends Pray is an affiliate, so they, of course, the ministry benefits, so that's how you can get the book. If you're interested in, if you know God placed something in your belly and you're stalled and moving into what God placed in you, then I'll invite you to Girlfriends Pray Life Camp. Is where I have a group coaching, and it's pretty awesome. I have to tell. I'm going to say this.
Amazing.
It's not just because it's me, but I will say we have major breakthroughs. I've got lots of championship rings based on the transformation that happens. It really, there's awesome women. Are you laughing at me, Tina? I love it. I love that.
I'm going to start using that. I have amazing championship rings. I love it.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I'm the Phil Jackson. I'm going to need all of my MJs to go on my Facebook and back me up. Now, don't make me look crazy, you need to say, because I coached some of y'all today, and you all were in it. But let me just say this. So Girlfriends Pray Life Camp, is one place to start. If you go to the Girlfriends Pray website, click on Girlfriends Pray Life Camp, and there's a drop-down. It says James Girls, and that's a group coaching. It's ongoing. It's a amazing program. I'll tell you, if that might not be for you, I'm doing a program coming up, and it'll just give you a taste of, the kind of work that I do. Go to girlfriendsprayer.org, and you'll see a 21-day program. It's called Best Year of Your Life. You can do that, and that'll give you just a 21 days, a taste of the coaching with me, and then you can elevate. You can graduate up to coaching one-on-one if that is your need and if you know that God has placed something in you. If you know, I'm going to give this to you in terms of the qualifier and the people that I work with. It's if you know that you're struggling or you're tired, I should say, of status quo, average, mediocre living, then, yes, you should come over. If you know that your life is characterized by chaos, confusion, clutter, and disorder, then, yes, you should come over. If you know that your life, right, you are not realizing, you are not living up to your full potential, come over, come see me. If you know that your vision for your life is greater than how you're living right now, if you know that God's vision for your life, right, if you're living beneath the vision that God has for you, then you should come over. That's the qualifier, right? If you know that resonates with you, you can reach out, go to Girlfriends Pray Life Camp, or you can always email me, d@dcmarshall.com, and let's just hope you don't get lost in the 7,000 emails that are in my box. So it's DEE@DEECmarshall.com. And I'm everywhere online, DC Marshall, on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram.
Wow. This has definitely been a phenomenal show, a phenomenal interview, Dee. I just pray God's continual blessings on you. You pour so much into the women that are connected to you, that get involved with you. You pour so much. And my prayer is to you that everything that you've poured out, that God will pour back double, that your cup will run over. Just like David said in Psalms 23, my cup runneth over. That is my prayer for you, that your cup runneth over. Thank you so much for just, I don't know about everybody that's listening, but I tell you, I have the Dee Marshall. I've been hit by the Dee Marshall on tonight, and I praise God for her. And I'm telling you, this is a live interview on the Queen Esther Radio Show, and you are listening live. We have just had the opportunity to speak with the phenomenal Dee Marshall here live on the Queen Esther Radio Show. I don't want you to go anywhere. Stay tuned, and we will be right back. Hold your seats.
Are you frustrated, disappointed, discouraged with your life? Are you angry with God? What's holding you back from fulfilling your purpose? Are you struggling as a leader in ministry? Do you believe you have an end-time calling? If you answered yes to any of these questions, tune in to The Waymakers on MWHY Radio Network every other Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are here to support you. Join us to get the answers that will prepare the way of the Lord in your life.
The Tanya Free and Friends Talk Show is happy to announce our partnership with the May We Help You Radio Network. You can now catch the rebroadcast of our Wednesday show every Thursday at 6 p.m. That's Tanya Free and Friends, the podcast, every Thursday evening at 6 p.m. We welcome your comments and opinions 24/7 at TanyaFree.com, Facebook and Twitter, or send me a text by texting the word Tanya, that's 72727. Tanya Free and Friends, and May We Help You Radio. Living life with a purpose.
Thank you to our sponsors of the Queen Esther Radio Show.
If you're the parent of a child with behavioral challenges that has been suspended, expelled, or just not able to make it in a traditional school setting, there is an alternative. Call the Metropolitan Day School today. Licensed and accredited grades K through 12. Call 804-321-2595. Financial assistance and after-school programs are available. Let's turn this school year around right now at the Metropolitan Day School, where Eagles soar. Call Ms. Thomas today. 804-321-2595.
Well, welcome back to the Queen Esther Radio Show. I am your host, Jessica Taylor, and I have the privilege and honor to have guest co-hosting with me on tonight, the phenomenal LaSheera Lee. How are you again, Miss LaSheera?
I am doing wonderful, and I tell you, Dee took us to church. What a awesome, powerful testimony and coaching session. I feel like I have just been in one of her master coaching sessions.
Well, you know, when we were ending the interview, I closed my eyes and said a quick prayer. I said, God, thank you, because I know that it was nobody but God. I would have never in my life thought that I would have even gotten a chance to speak to her or to even be connected with her ministry as a local ambassador. For the Girlfriends Pray Local. I just never would have ever thought that, but I tell you, I raised my hand like she said, and just the things that God is doing, it is amazing. And I love how she gives all the glory to God. It reminds me of James chapter 1. James starts off saying, James, a servant of Jesus Christ. He doesn't try to puff himself up, but he says his name is James, and he is a servant of Jesus Christ. And that is what Dee, in so many words, said on tonight on this show. I just praise God for her. What I want to do is make a quick announcement, because it is that time again for the 5th annual Let's Get Serious Health, Wellness, and Fitness Expo. Those of you who have attended this expo before can attest to the fact that this event is nothing but pure family fun. So come on out again for this year. Last year, Sharir Cofield International hosted over 1,000 attendees. The goal this year is at least 1,300 registered attendees. Visit letsgetserious.eventbrite.com to register for this free event. Sponsorship and vendor opportunities are still available. Again, you can go to letsgetserious.eventbrite.com to register for this free event. Well, LaSheera, we have the privilege. You know what? I'm going to let you introduce this next guest.
Well, our next guest, she wears so many different hats. She's an author, a journalist, NAACP Image Award winner. She is a fantastic coach. She is a wonderful, wonderful writing coach. She is a guest speaker. She's a mother. She is known to be an awesome friend, a wonderful mentor, and a loving wife. So I would like to introduce ReShonda Tate Billinglsey. ReShonda, welcome to the Queen Esther Show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Now, ReShonda, I know that lately you've been wearing so many hats, and we talk a lot about this being Women's Month and how we want to empower women and what we want to instill in women and what we want to use our platforms and our vehicles for. And you have so many platforms and vehicles that one will wonder, how do you keep balance? And a lot of women in this day and time have a problem of seeing so many different jobs and projects. So what is key for you to learn, or what can you tell us about balancing?
You know, for me, I just believe that every minute you spend talking about what you don't have time to do can be spent doing it. So I don't sit around and waste time and say, I don't have time to do this, or how am I going to get all of these different things and make them happen? I just believe in going to make them happen.
And you make it happen. You're doing a very good job of that. Now, I know that one thing that you have done that so many people, you and Victoria Christian Murray have done, that so many people are all of, is you are the founders and publisher of Brown Girls Publishing. And can you tell Jessica listeners what was the motivation behind creating and you using your voice, because you two have awesome voices. And people in publishing, you all are very iconic, and I don't know if a lot of people realize that, because as it comes to traditional publishing, there are not a lot of African-American publishers. Publishers, and there are not a lot of African-Americans who actually have publishing contracts. So for you two to join your voices and your force and to implement this wonderful publishing company, did you have any idea of what it would mean to the African-American publishing community?
You know, we actually did not know that it would be received the way that it was, but we knew that we wanted it. Myself and Victoria Christopher Murray, she's my business partner, we are with Simon & Schuster, and we're with different divisions, but we are among the last Black authors.
Yes.
The publishing industry has changed and so I'm the last Black author at my division and her at hers. And it's not because we're the most talented authors by far. It's just the way the publishing industry has changed. And we noticed the change, and we said it's so many talented writers out there not getting the opportunity because the landscape has changed. And so we wanted to create a way for them to get their voices heard, for fan favorites to bring out new work, and for fresh voices to come onto the scene. And so that was the whole reason that we started Brown Girls.
Now, I know that I get this question a lot. People often ask, do you think they're still accepting submissions? Do you think they're still accepting submissions? And I know that at one point you had closed because you were overwhelmed with the amount of submissions that you received. Were you two expecting the amount of manuscripts that was coming in to Brown Girls Publishing?
Not in any shape, form, or fashion. That is one area we were absolutely not ready for. I mean, we started this company, it was Victoria and I, and we had our assistants helping us out. And we ended up having to quickly bring on a staff to assist us. And even our acquisitions team was just overwhelmed. And within 2 months, we had to shut down submissions. We opened in February 3rd of 2014, and we got over 450 submissions within 2 months. And one of the things, we really were trying to change the game, and so we had started out trying to read all of these and give people feedback. That is one of the areas that I just hate, that we couldn't keep up, but just the sheer volume, we couldn't do it. But we were trying to not just stamp not for us, but we really were trying to take time and give people feedback on how to improve their writing. And so for that reason, we had to close it down. We just could not continue to take submissions when we had so many to go through.
Now, versus what you're doing as a publisher versus traditional publishing, what is the biggest difference that you feel that Brown Girls Publishing differ from the traditional publishing houses?
Oh, in a lot of ways, we're authors, so we get it. Between the care and input that we give to each of our authors, we consider ourselves partners. We're not their publisher where they do everything we say. We consider ourselves partners in this publishing game. And so one of the things that we bring to the table with our authors is that ability to pick up the phone and talk about their story, pick up the phone and say, hey, I have a huge event coming up. Can we move my book up and get it out in 2 months? Just that one-on-one that you can't get with a traditional publisher. And we believe we understand the author and the publishing game because we're in it.
Wow. Now let's talk about ReShonda, the author. You have so many accolades, and you are one of those authors that people would consider to be an author's author, that they're not trying to mimic you, but they love your writing style, and they want to obtain some of the quote-unquote author greatness that you exhibit and your attributes that you exhibit as a writer in your books. And a lot of people refer to you or they want to come to you for editing and coaching and things of that nature. And I know that due to Brown Girls Publishing being so huge, are you still able to offer those services on your catalog for Brown Girls Publishing?
We do. We used to be to edit a lot. I simply cannot do the editing like I used to. Victoria loves it, and so she's able to take outside projects. And she does the majority of editing for Brown Girls. And so she does in her, well, I can't say spare time because she never has spare time, but she does continue to maintain her editing and consulting business because it's something that's near and dear to her heart. I'm more on the administrative side of Brown Girls, and so I'm finding that I just don't have the time to take on outside projects because I also am doing some screenwriting. And so I don't do it anymore, but she does, and I highly suggest. She is an awesome, awesome editor, and she is constantly bombarded with requests for outside projects.
Now, let's talk about your books, and you know, your latest project. And can you please tell Jessica listeners the title of your latest project?
My latest book is called What's Done in the Dark. And it is about a woman that, if you will, accidentally has a one-night stand with her best friend's husband. They have a little history, and they end up in a hotel bar. Both of them are mad at their spouses, and so from the bar they go to the bedroom, and they end up having a one-night intimate night together. And the problem is he doesn't wake up. He dies overnight. So the question is, does she get her stuff and run, or does she call for help? And so it is the whole dilemma of that. But I don't write just drama for the sake of drama. I have messages because no one person is all good or no one person is all bad. So you hear she slept with her best friend's husband, and you automatically think this is somebody you're going to hate. But I like to challenge myself as a writer and create complex characters to show how one bad decision can alter the course of your life, but it doesn't necessarily make you a bad person.
That's right.
Now, I think I actually read all of your books, and as a reader, what I noticed is that you're pretty much the queen of the standalone cliffhanger, which I know sounds like a oxymoron, but it's not, because you just what you said earlier about accidentally he doesn't wake up, and you leave your readers until the very end. Every chapter is like a cliffhanger, and you have your readers wanting more and more and more, and you have been able to do that constantly throughout your book. Is that something that you purposely do, or now it's just a natural writing attribute that you have just been able to utilize over the years?
You know, it is. It's natural for me because I think I have ADD when it comes to reading. A story has to capture my attention, and it has to keep me wanting to read. I love reading books that I'm like, okay, just one more chapter, and then I'm going to go to bed. And so those are the type of books I always want to write. I want you to have to say, okay, I've got to put this book down because I got to be at work in 2 hours. And so that's because that's the type of reading I love to do. It's the type of writing I love to exhibit.
Now, I know that you're wearing so many hats, and I know that one of your first loves was journalism, and you're often called to be on guest panels because you are extremely, extremely funny, articulate, and astute speaker. I was blessed enough to have you come to the big city of Danville, Virginia, to do one of my literary events. I girl got a lag. Lord, she went through some cow patches a year. God bless her. And I know that that's a love of yours. And so have you evolved into event coaching for others?
You know, I haven't, but I do get that a lot because, and I don't know if it is my television background because I was an anchor and a reporter for almost 20 years. I know how to read a crowd. And so it is an attribute that I think anyone that speaks before a crowd should know how to do. A lot of authors tend to be introverts.
Boring. Yeah, and boring. and I remember.
I see that.
Yeah, just boring. And, you know, you're right. There are a lot of introverts, and they are excellent in writing, but they don't know how to read the crowd, or they are actually intimidated by their readers. And I noticed that when you and Victoria are together, you're actually coaching the people around you. And I don't know, are you two aware of that you coach the authors or anybody around you? You need to do this. You know what? You should do that, or you should read that. And it comes so natural to you that I think that you automatically expect for other people to do that. But that's a gifting. A lot of people don't have that. And I've had so many people ask me, do they coach? And I was like, girl, y'all would make a killing if you did.
Yeah, maybe that's something we need to take to add to our to-do list, because it is natural for us, and we know how to read a crowd. We know if we're reading an excerpt from a book and we're losing the crowd, we know how to cut it off, and it is natural, but it just comes from us being conversational type people. We are ordinary women who just so happen to be doing extraordinary things.
That's right. Awesome. Now, ReShonda, what can you tell us about your project that will be released this year? Can you give us the title, a brief synopsis, and then maybe a little sneak peek into what we can expect as readers?
Yes, please share, ReShonda.
I am excited about my upcoming title, Mama's Boy, and it comes out July 7th. And it's nothing like what you may think. It actually is about a woman whose son is in Jasper, Texas. He is her black son kills a white police officer, and it's during a scuffle over a gun. And then, I don't know if you know Jasper's history, but Jasper has a history of racism. So her task is: do I turn my son in to this racist town, or do I help him run? And what do you do as a mother when you're faced with something like that? You're a mother who lives right. She's a first lady of a church, but she knows it could be deadly to turn her son into this racist police department. And so it's a very moving book that I'm very proud of, and that's called Mama's Boy. It'll be out in July.
Okay, in July. And what are your next events? So are you traveling this year with your book?
I am. I travel quite frequently. I actually am publishing a book with another writer with Brown Girls, and we're doing a mentorship program with Brown Girls Books. And it is where we take a new writer, and Victoria and I write a book with them. We partner with them to create this book. And Victoria did it in December with Princess F.L. Gooding called Touched by an Angel, and I have one coming up in April called Payday with Rochelle Denise. And so we're really excited about that, and we'll be touring with that book. And then I'm always on the road with my books. I love traveling and talking about what it is we do.
Now, of all your roles, if you had to choose one, which role do you feel that you are more passionate about?
What am I most passionate about? You know, it used to be writing the actual books, because I do love writing the books. But being on the publishing side, I really am feeling this publishing. I love doing it. I love helping other people realize their dreams. I don't know if it's because I have 37 books, and it's like my family doesn't even get excited about it anymore. I hit number one on the bestsellers list, nominated for an NAACP Image Award, and my sister's like, oh, okay. You know, so I don't know if it's because I have reached so many milestones. I feel so great about being able to help others reach theirs. We had one of our Brown Girls authors, Nina Fonts, nominated this year for an NAACP Emmy Award. And I think I was happier for her than I was for myself, because this was our first year in existence, and to have one of our titles nominated was phenomenal.
Yes.
Yes.
It is extremely. Wow. Now, what do you feel will be the future for Brown Girls Publishing? And I know that that a lot of their books have been opted for film rights and television rights. So where do you see Brown Girls Publishing in the future?
Well, we'll continue to publish quality books. That is one of the main things that we pride ourselves in, is our stamp of approval by publishing a book means that is a quality book that you can be proud of and that you'll enjoy. You might not enjoy the genre, but you can bet that it's going to be a quality, well-written book. And so we'll continue to do that, and we are moving into the next phase with Brown Girls Entertainment, and that's where we're taking some of our books to film. I just had a call tonight where we kind of finalized, and I'm so excited and can't wait to release the details of the first book that we'll be taking to film. And, we just hope to continue growing our company.
Wow. And, and to think about within a year's time what your company has been able to accomplish is just amazing, especially in this day and time where publishing has underwent a lot of transformation, some positive and some negative, but you're able to show the positive. And also what I do love about Victoria and ReShonda Jessica is that they are always promoting other authors and not necessarily authors that are on their catalog. And you hear so much negativity about the publishing world or entertainment world in general about people being dogmatic and people not supporting. But in these two lady cases, this is not the case because they're always promoting and exposing other authors or publicists or what have you. And that, I think, also sets you apart because people are attracted to light. I know I am. That
Me
when
too.
You are constantly spewing light, then in return, that's what you receive. And so I think that what you have is you're just reaping what you have sowed.
Well, thank you so much. We hear that all the time, and I've actually seen some of the negativity in the publishing industry. But one of the things that Victoria and I firmly believe is this isn't a competition. If one person enjoys one good book, then they'll want more. And so maybe you don't read my book right now. Maybe you read someone else's book. And I can promote that person, and if you love that, you'll go read another book and another. We have never seen this as a competition. And so that's why we are always open to promoting others. Even those not on our roster, we just love promoting good books.
Yeah, and I always say on my my radio show that, divided we fall, but together, we stand. And I think that once people realize that, and you hit a good point, you may not particularly like that genre or you may not particularly like that style, but however, if we stand together and we promote quality literature and we present a united front, then we all win. And I think that that's a lesson that a lot of people can take from you and Victoria.
Thank you.
Jessica, do you have any questions? I don't want to hog the whole conversation.
Oh, really? Can you, ReShonda, I just want you to know you are such an inspiration. You are such a breath of fresh air. I know a lot of authors from around, I meet so many authors, especially by doing this show, and I always hear, even before I met LaSheera, I've heard your name over 100 times, and that's not even an exaggeration. Before I even knew.
Honored.
I mean, your name is out there in such a positive light. I was even told to turn my book over to you for publishing. Like, you want to go with Brown Girls Publishing. You want to go with Brown Girls Publishing. I'm so serious. Even before I met LaSheera, even knew exactly who you were, I've heard your name. So I just know that this is a God thing. I know that God is doing great things in your life. And I'm just sitting over here, and I've been following you for a while now. And I'm just amazed at how humble you are. A lot of times people are so arrogant when they have, when they have power. They have influence. And you're just a sweetie pie. You're just such a sweetie pie.
Well, thank you so much.
She's such a sweetie pie.
I come from a background, so, I just believe that I am no better than anyone else just because I've had better opportunities presented to me. And, as my mother would always tell me, everybody you try to step on your way up, you'll see on your way down.
Yes.
So you always remember that.
Oh, my gosh. And you're just such a beautiful person. I was looking at your picture. I said, she is so beautiful. And I just couldn't wait to hear your spirit. I hear it on, off of your words, off of the things that you post. But just to hear it, literally hear it, is just an amazing thing, and to God be the glory. I don't have anything because LaSheera, every time I was going to ask a question, she asked the question. So I'm just sitting here like, wow, when can we bring you back on the show, especially with the mentorship program that you're doing? I would love to have you come back and talk more about that, and also, possibly bring one of your authors, pick an author or two that you have and bring them on the show with you. I would love that.
Okay, we would love to set something up.
Absolutely. Well, LaSheera, do you have any more questions for Miss ReShonda?
No, not tonight, but I appreciate ReShonda extending her generosity, her brilliance, and her talent to the show tonight, because this is all about empowering women, and she most definitely is the epitome of women empowerment.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate you all having me on the show.
Thank you so much, ReShonda. Well, if you are tuned in to the Queen Esther Radio Show, we are live here tonight. I have a special guest co-host, LaSheera Lee, and we have had the privilege of speaking with the phenomenal, humble ReShonda Tate Billinglsey. I'm just grateful again to God for all that he's done. What I would like to do is take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, you will have Motivational Moments with Jessica. Stay tuned. We'll be right back on the Queen Esther Radio Show.
To all of my female entrepreneurs, it's time to expand your region and business profits. Are you networking in the same locale and viewing the same guest list over and over? Do you find your colleagues are referring new business and its clients that you already have in your portfolio? Are you industry stagnant? And are your social groups and events filled with the same people? If you answer yes to just one of these questions, it's time to expand internationally. You are cordially invited to petition for attendance to an all-female exclusive and private event featuring the Power of 52 Women, the East Coast International Business Symposium, hosted by rockstar entrepreneur and international business consultant Erica A. Murray and multimedia distributor and expert Letitia M., and moderator Ms. Joan Henry of the Women's Entrepreneur Expo, beginning February 28, 2015 in Baltimore, Maryland, March 28th in New York, April 18th in Washington, D.C., May the 23rd in Atlanta, Georgia, June the 20th in Boston, Massachusetts, and September, Africa. If you are serious about your business, don't miss this event. Go to www.thepowerof52women.com for more information. Once again, go to www.thepowerof52women.com and register today. This is an event you don't want to miss.
Hi, this is Capri Smith of the Uncuffed Radio Show. Join me every Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to learn how you can grow in your business, personal environment, and reach your true potential while uncuffing what is binding you, only on the May We Help You Radio Network.
The Queen Esther Radio Show will return after these messages.
The Queen Esther Radio Show is live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join me, Jessica Taylor,
and me, Jason Mosley, to be entertained by authors, artists, and spiritual leaders.
We look forward to being a blessing in your life every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Only on the MWHY Radio Network. Stay tuned. Coming up next, Motivational Moments with Jessica Taylor.
Well, welcome back to the Queen Esther Radio Show. I'm your host, Jessica Taylor. My other host, Jason Mosley, he is off this month because it is Women Empowerment Month, and I told him no men allowed, no men's zone going on over here. But I have had the privilege for these last 2 weeks of having LaSheera Lee as my special guest co-host, and I am just super, super excited about her. She has been a breath of fresh air for me, and her interviewing style is impeccable, is beyond impeccable. I don't know if you're still listening, LaSheera, but I just want you to know that you have done a phenomenal job these last 2 weeks, and I look forward to you coming back. But today I am going to I just feel impressed in my spirit to talk a little bit about just a quick prayer that I've always dealt with. And I wanted to, since we had Dee Marshall on the line with us, and she is the founder of Girlfriends Pray, and prayer has really been the theme, just the atmosphere that I wanted to set on this evening. But I just wanted to just encourage someone today in this segment of Motivational Moments. I remember when I lost a very high-paying job, low six figures, and I ended up after unemployment ran out and all that good stuff, and I've shared a little bit of this before. I was living in the Motel 6 actually, and I could barely feed myself. And I was still faithful to the things of God, and I had, and I was able to comb my hair and present myself as though nothing was going on. And I went to church. I was faithful to the house of God, faithful to the things of God. And I just remember laying in the bed one day, and I do want to say this. I had lost hope. Because I said, God, why did you allow this to happen to me? And yes, I was still praying, but I wasn't praying. It was still that, thank you, Jesus, for waking me up this morning. Thank you, God, protect me, shield me, keep me. Amen. All of that. But I remember laying in the bed, and a song came deep. It's deeply rooted down in me because I grew up in a traditional settings where we sang hymns all the time, and I thank God for those hymns because it's down in my spirit, it's down in my belly. But the song was, "Oh, what needless pains we bear, all because we don't take everything to God in prayer." And I remember dropping down on my knees, and I was just like, God, I know that you can do anything. And I remember that song just resonating in me. And I said, the problem was I hadn't prayed about it. I hadn't fully prayed about my situation. And even if you remember when Job prayed for his friends, the scripture talks about how God turned. It's always something that's happening when prayer takes place. And I wanted to just encourage someone on this evening and let them know that prayer still works. I know that we have all of these different mechanisms and outlets that we can go to, the internet, social media, maybe somebody else's husband, somebody else's wife. We have all of these different outlets. But have you taken that burden to God in prayer? He is waiting. He is willing. He is available. His arms are stretched wide open, and he will pardon you. It doesn't matter how deep you have gone. It doesn't matter how deep you have gone. It doesn't matter how low you have gone. It doesn't matter if you're in the belly of the fish like Jonah was. And if you read his testimony, God does visit the pit. He is a God that can hear in your lowest state. It does not matter. I had to encourage myself, and it is through prayer that it happens. And I want you to know that prayer still works. Prayer still works. Prayer still works. There's a saying that I've kind of coined, and it is prayer doesn't change some things, it changes everything. You can be over here in the United States of America, and your prayer can change something over there in Africa. Prayer is universal. It is not bound to any certain geographic location. God will take your prayers, and you can change a whole nation. So I want to encourage you on tonight. I want to encourage you on this evening to not give up, to not stop praying. What I love about Girlfriends Prayer, 1 Thessalonians 5:17, pray without ceasing. God is a God that is ready and willing and available to do, and he's able to do exceedingly and abundantly above all that you dare ask or think. I just want to encourage you on tonight, and I feel this thing so strong. It was on me so heavy today. Have you taken that thing to God in prayer? It has been a phenomenal show on today. We had Dee Marshall. She wears so many hats. We had ReShonda Tate Billinglsey as well. She wears so many hats. We have LaSheera Lee. We have so many women that are just stepping up, and different ones are messaging me and letting me know that they're listening. And I appreciate everyone who's tuned in on tonight. But out of everything that was said, I want you to know that whatever you're carrying, you don't have to carry it. You can take it to God in prayer. On behalf of myself and Jason, we thank you for tuning in. Thank you, LaSheera Lee, for being such a phenomenal co-host. I do want to thank my producer. I just always thank her for allowing me this platform. God is so good. My name is Jessica Taylor. I am the host of the Queen Esther Radio Show. God bless you, and have a great night on tonight. Until next week, we'll talk later. God bless. Bye-bye.